Welcome to the Dynasty Evaluation Show. It's me and my man JT. What we got here is just getting the touch, getting the feel for everybody out there. We're drafting. We've been talking rookies the whole time, this whole offseason. We did a dynasty draft here. The guys at Fantasy and Frames did a dynasty draft, dynasty startup. So it's not just rookies. It's NFL players. It's where will you draft if you had your startup in 3 or 4 months from now, like you regularly do. So we're going to do and see like kind of where everybody's got their feel, where they value players. It's only the starting lineup, so it's only 10 rounds. I think it's 9 or 10 rounds, but we're going to go through all the rounds, see where the value is at, where it fell, where we can get some the good picks at, criticize some of these teams, congratulate some of these teams. Let's get the show started.
McGlynn is in. I repeat, McGlynn is in. Let the fun begin. This is the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with your host, John McGlynn.
Is that Herms?
He got them guests on the Rolodex, stopping by to talk about some Dynasty SuperFlex. Everybody, yo, Commish is in. It's time to sit down to listen to John McGlynn. Yo, who we trading, who we fading, who we getting off the squad. Knowledge never overrated, playing for number one. Hey, yo, McGlynn is in. It's time to let the fun begin. It's the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with John McGlynn.
We are back. I get to see JT's face again for the first time in a while on the Dynasty Evaluation Show. We took some, life got in the way, the world got in the way. So work especially gets in the way for everybody when you get older and you're working 72-hour weeks and, the kids got sports and blah, blah, blah. But, we're in the best place we possibly could. We got some fans back. Jamie, my dudes. You are my dude, Jamie.
Jamie in the house, like always. Chris Joel Smith. Woo! Back with us. I love it.
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. So, JT, you and the guys at Fantasy and Frames, you guys did a mock draft here with some guys, pretty much most startup. What do you guys think? What do you think of when you do a mock draft? You're doing a startup mock draft. You just kind of get the pace for everybody. So you don't want to get like crazy fancy with scoring or, crazy scoring, but all this other stuff like that.
Exactly. We went into, didn't want to do anything too crazy. A couple guys at Fantasy and Frames off this week. Vacation, different reasons, other things. So we're like, we did this. I think we're going to run another one over there. So we were like, hey, maybe me and John will talk about the one we ran a week or so ago. Do another one over there. So basically we just said, hey, SuperFlex, tight end premium, like 1.5 on the tight end premium. And we're like, we're not going to do a full mock, like all team draft, but we're like, let's look at like the first 9-10 rounds, like starters, right? Let's not look at starters. Let's look at values. Let's see where people are kind of taking them. So we did a mix of people, a couple guys for Fantasy and Frames, a couple guys just in the Discord that wanted to jump in and do a draft. We had a couple. It started getting close, so we had a couple auto drafts. So that's some of that happens. It does, especially when you're doing a mock draft sometimes. But basically, this is a good exercise. If you're getting ready to do a startup, like where are some values going? Where are some of these guys going? Kind of take a look. I always think startup mocks are one of the best things to look at to try to kind of feel what everybody else is doing. Yeah. Because again, the startup mock is maybe the most stressful. Like the real startup draft is the most stressful draft there is because you're like, this is my team for maybe the next 5-10 years. I don't want to F up the startup draft, right? Like if you have up the startup draft, you're like, okay, I'm in perpetual rebuild mode for at least 5 years. So I think sometimes it's good just to kind of look at these, see where guys have moved in value. We see it every day, John. What year to year you'll see a guy and all of a sudden, let's look at 2 years ago. All of a sudden, Brian Thomas, BTJ, and Stroud going for an insane amount of first-round picks. People didn't want to give them up. They both had awesome rookie years. Everyone's like, no way I'm trading those guys. They're like top 3 at QB, top 3 at wide receiver. They both have down years. Now all of a sudden you're like, where are they going to start up now? A whole lot later than they were a year ago. So those things matter big time in that. So I always think it's good. Let's just take a look, see who's fallen where. Every startup's going to be different, right? Depending on who values what and where you're drafting, right? We'll talk about that a little bit as we get into this strategy of where you're at in a startup can completely change depending on where you're drafting. So we'll talk about that a little bit as we get through talking about these players, where guys went, who we like, who we don't like, as far as picks, and we'll kind of go from there.
Let's get to these teams, JT. That's what people want to see.
All right, I'm going to pull up the board here for us. So jump in, take a look. Feel free to comment, tell us picks you like, picks you don't like. I specifically left out teams here, the guys that drafted. I didn't want to put anybody on blast. We kind of did it, and this one was kind of a quick one. Not going to lie to you, it was a little bit quick, just because we were running out of time. We were originally going to do this like over a week ago. Mm-hmm. And so we turned down to an hour when we got late in this thing. So sometimes some people got auto drafted. These things happen. We know, especially as a mock, you don't want to hate on anybody if they can't get that in. So here we go. I got it up now. I got to pull up the board 1 through 12. Real quick, I'm just going to read through the first round for anybody that might be listening to podcast form, can't see the board. I'll read through them real quick for you. So 101 was Josh Allen. 102, Drake May, quarterback Patriots. Number 3, Jamar Chase, wide receiver Cincinnati. Number 4, Bijan Robinson, running back Atlanta. Number 5, Jaden Daniels, quarterback Washington. Number 6, JSN, wide receiver since Seattle. I don't know why I want to say Cincinnati there. No, Seattle. Puka Nacua at 1-7, wide receiver, LA Rams. 1-8, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back Detroit. 1-9, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver Minnesota. 1-10, Lamar Jackson, quarterback Baltimore. 1-11, Joe Burrow, QB Cincinnati. And 1-12, Caleb Williams, Bears. So in a super flex draft, in this one, 12-teamer, we got 4, 5, 6. So half of the first round picks were QBs, 2 running backs, and 4 wide receivers. What do you think about that, John?
I think the only, some people are scratching their heads right now saying, man, Justin Jefferson got me about 5 fantasy points a game last year. This is crap. Why would you take that guy? You could get so much better. Where's the Amon-Ra St. Brown, who finishes wide receiver 5 last, 17 years in a row? Why don't you take a quarterback here? But I mean, this is almost chalk for the first round. These are the best players, probably the 12 best players in the league. Josh Allen, if I was 101, I would have it would be a no-brainer pick. Josh Allen, bam. Drake May is in a lot of places. Drake May is a quarterback 1 now in Dynasty. He's no longer, the following Josh Allen. A lot of people have him ranked above Josh Allen. Josh Allen's getting some, he just got the DJ Moore upgrade. They're probably going to get a better receiver. Hopefully they don't take another Keon Coleman type player in the draft. But Jamar Chase, Bijan, Jaden Daniels, a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people are trading away Jaden Daniels right now, even though the team is possibly going to get a good running back upgrade. You never know what they're going to do or what's going to fall to them. They're probably going to get a receiver in this year's draft for sure. But I mean, Jaden Daniels is small and he runs a lot, and they're worried about his injury history and his injury future. So, it's kind of I wouldn't call it if you have 105 and this is a dynasty, you have to take Jaden Daniels there because of the value. Or you could take JSN, who is just Superman right now on the receiver. I mean, he is by far number 2 to Jamar Chase. Puka does some crazy things off and on the field, but you cannot deny the man's talent. He is absolutely fantastic. Gibbs is pretty much the entire team right now. They got a new Isaiah Pacheco's the running back there now, too, is the early down back, but Gibbs is going to be the whole offense in Detroit pretty much. Justin Jefferson, Kyler Murray's there now, upgrade that situation. It's all he needs is to get the ball, and he could be back to the wide receiver 1 this season. So you can't pass up on a talent like that. Lamar Jackson speaks for himself. I like the Lamar Jackson become more of a not so much just tuck it and run, becoming like a pocket passer now, kind of. He's balancing his game. He's leveling it out. He could still run like the best of them, probably better than the best of them, but he's passing a lot more accurate now. And they've been rumored to get another in this year's draft, getting another wide receiver, also a shifty, fast wide receiver. So if that would be a great upgrade for him. They did lose one of their tight ends, but Mark Andrews is true, trustworthy. We see what he can do. Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, like you can't blame anybody in a super flex in the first round for taking Joe Burrow and Caleb Williams. Yes, Joe Burrow is he's injury prone. He's got some injuries, but when he's healthy, there's nothing like having Joe Burrow on your fantasy team. So, and I love Caleb. There's so many weapons on that offense. Across the board, you can name that. There's not a player on that team on the offense in the receiving core that you can't say it will be a top 5 at or top 10 at their position. Your boy Luther Burden might take a little bit more time to develop, but tight end, the other Roma Dunze across the board, Colston Loveland, the running backs catching the ball in the backfield. If the Bears don't go running back in this year's draft, which I think they're going to, kind of unfortunately, but this whole first round is almost chalk as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the only thing I think is a question mark is where the QBs go. And I think you see with this draft a little bit, you see that recency bias of guys getting hurt. Jane Daniels was going number 1 last year.
Yeah.
In so many drafts. Like, he was either going 1 or 2 behind Josh Allen in a ton of drafts. Injury dropped him a little bit. I think the same thing you could say with Lamar and Joe Burrow. If those guys had been healthy and 100% the last couple of years, I think they're both top 5 every time.
Probably.
I just think there's a little bit of that. They fell because people are a little nervous, and they're like, do I want the young stud wideout or the young stud running back? Now, usually we don't want to take a lot of running backs in startup drafts, at least early, unless you're getting the studs who are top of the league and they're young. That's where you're getting Bijan. That's where you get Jahmyr Gibbs. John, I don't know how you think about it. I think it's going to be almost impossible for either one of those guys to get out of a first round in a startup super flex, unless you're playing in a 2 QB league.
Yeah.
I just don't know how either of those guys make it out of the first round. So I think you're right there. And then wide receiver, I think this is a list that I think it's totally personal choice. I think Jamar's probably the guy that should go number 1. But then from there, JSN, Puka, and Jefferson, I think it's a total toss-up. Like you said, Jefferson a little bit of a dark horse, which it seems insane to say. But because of the QB play and him being down a little bit because of the QB play, falling all the way to 9, I'm not going to lie right now. I'm just going to throw it out there. The only person I'm going to call out is me. I took Jefferson at 109. So yes. He got to me there, and I was really debating QB first. Mm-hmm. There, I was like, ooh, I really was thinking about, honestly, Lamar, Burrow, and Caleb Williams. Like, all those guys I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think I can get Herbert or Lawrence on the way back was my thought. So I was like, ooh, maybe I take Jefferson and then I'll get QB on the way back. So that's kind of what's out there. But I think you could flip the order of a lot of these guys, but I think you're going to see a huge percentage of those guys go in your first round. Don't you think?
JT, you know what? Here's the thing. Everybody knows this. You're all set up. You got your guys picked out, and the draft starts, and all of a sudden you're on the clock, and you're like a kid at a candy store. There's your favorite flavor and your favorite treat and your favorite ice cream and your favorite this and that. And it's like, shit, what do I do now? It's like you had a whole plan, and then it's like the whole thing got flushed down the toilet because you have these your brain goes into like short circuiting. You can't do anything. You can't think straight anymore because I don't want to take Justin Jefferson because I can get Lamar Jackson. I don't want to take Lamar Jackson because I could have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't want to take blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, it's so bad. So at some point in time, you just have to make a decision and go on because you're at right now, you're at 109. In 6 more picks, you're picking again, and there's still tons of guys left on the board. So getting Justin Jefferson in the first round is probably the worst. I mean, that's like, oh no, well, I messed up. I got Justin Jefferson, the 3rd best receiver in the entire world. Like, okay, you did fine. So Mark Ringo, thanks for joining us here, man. Hi, John and JT. Mark, I got to get you on the show one day, man. You're awesome. Thanks for always chiming in. But JT, so after that first round, can I read the second round here? Because this is I I love the way
jump out the second round, and then we're going to bring up Jamie had a comment here, which I want to jump into, but I wanted to wait till we got to the second round before we did.
Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead and read us the second round.
So in the second round starts out Justin Herbert, quarterback of the Chargers, and then 202 Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions. 203 is CeeDee Lamb from the Cowboys. 204, mine and your boy, Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars. 2-5, Malik Neighbors, New York Giants. Went through an injury last year. Should be golden from the season starts this year, hopefully. Be the number one guy in New York for sure, and the Giants for sure. Drake London, the Falcons, Mr. PPR King. Then look at this. How the mighty have fallen. Patrick Mahomes at 207 after Trevor Lawrence. Holy cow.
Recency bias, buddy.
Yeah.
Recency bias and the JT effect.
I know it's the
Dynasty effect. I should probably not take Mahomes over him. But here's the thing about Lawrence. As you go through this real quick, I'll say it and I'll let you get back to the thing. People forget how young Trevor Lawrence is.
Yeah.
I know he feels like he's been in the league for 10 years. He's only in his mid-20s, people. He's only in his mid-20s. He should have a legit 10 years left in his career.
Yes.
Mahomes is starting to push 30. I know it doesn't seem possible, but he does. So that's my little 2 cents about that. John, I'll let you talk up Lawrence after this, but finish out this second round.
Pete Nova, thanks for joining in the show, man. Much appreciate you being here, buddy. Pete Nova, JT. Loves your boy, JT. JT is the man. Pete, you got to get this guy in your show. He's the best. He's the best thing that ever happened. Me and him.
Me and Pete agree on a lot of stuff on Twiher. So I just feel like I'm behind Pete. I'm just like 100% like 100% like. So all good. All good. Hey, Mark Ringo, first guy to tell me he's not a fan of my pick, which I agree with. He says, I like Lawrence, but Mahomes all day for me. That's probably the safer pick.
Yeah, right.
Not going to lie. A safer pick. Here's the only reason I went Lawrence. There was no way he was getting back to me, I felt, the next round. Now, maybe he could have because John wasn't in the draft. I know he's never getting back to me if John's in the draft. But I was a little nervous when I didn't go QB first round. If I would have went QB first round, I probably would have skipped Lawrence in the second round and probably taken Neighbors. So if I would have switched it up and taken Lamar or Burrow or Caleb Williams in the first pick, I probably would have went Neighbors in my second pick. I'm always super nervous in SuperFlex not to get QB in one of my first 2 picks. At that point, I feel like you're just waiting and you're taking whoever's left. But that's where I'm at. We'll talk about that as strategy as we keep going. Sorry, John, I keep butting in on you. Finish this round.
I don't mind. There's no time limit on this show, so no worries. So Patrick Mahomes at 207. I saw him running. Everybody, they showed his pre-workouts. My mom's the biggest Patrick Mahomes fan in the world. So they showed his running, walking, taking a couple steps back, throwing the ball in the gym. And I'm like, she's like, oh, Mahomes, there's no guarantee he's going to be ready for week 1. So, Trevor Lawrence will be ready for week 1. That's a guarantee there. You don't know what's going to happen. There's setbacks, injuries that happen. I'd rather be safe, especially with a guy that with more of an upside, I believe, with Trevor Lawrence. So then we go 208, Ashton Jeanty from the Raiders, who's the Raiders with a good quarterback, probably another good receiver this year's draft to go on with a good tight end, good improving offensive line. They are on the way up and up. So Ashton Jeanty is not going to be just the focal point of the offense. There's a lot more stuff going on there. George Pickens, that's your guy right there, JT. Okay. I mean, who thought that he would go to Dallas and do what he does?
I feel like I don't want to talk too much smack, but I just remember fighting everyone on Twitter about how George Pickens was good. Every analytics guy told me he was terrible. He can't separate. He's got good hands, but he can't get enough separation. And I'm like, he doesn't need separation. He catches freaking everything.
Right.
And I'm like, he's also coming off a ACL in college. He's just fully getting recovered in his second year. People are like, no, he's not good. He's not good. Every day, people are like, he's not good. I'm like, trade him to me. I'll take him in every league. Now, all of a sudden, John, I feel like 2 years later, I'm totally vindicated as he is now a second-round startup pick. When people told me in his first year as a rookie, and even in his second year, that this guy's not going to be any good. He's a washout in the NFL. He can't separate. And now all of a sudden, at one point last year, I got to look up where he finished officially at the end of the year. But at one point, he was leading the NFL in wide receiving yards last year.
I was just going to say, people thought he would be the Robin to CeeDee Lamb as being Batman, and man, how it kind of felt like the roles were reversed, like that George Pickens was Batman and CeeDee Lamb was Robin, didn't it? Didn't you get the feeling like, oh my God, somebody took?
There were times that this year, but I also thought, as a Steelers fan, I have to tell you, staring over at my George Pickens signed Steelers jersey on my wall over here, it hurts me that he's no longer on the team. But for fantasy purposes, I was like, oh yeah. When he went to the Cowboys, I was like, this is a great fit. Dak, CD, because you get Pickens when he's got another guy getting a lot of attention, and you got Pickens on the other side. I mean, just think if Pickens would have played with Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown.
Right.
Just think if he had been on the opposite side. Woo, he could have been amazing. So I loved it for fantasy purposes. Again, hate to not have him on the Steelers, but love for fantasy purposes. I'm just glad everyone is finally coming around and agreeing with me that George Pickens is freaking great and he's really good. Now, is he a head case? Yes. Are you going to get problems with him? Yes. But he's a wide receiver in the NFL. Who isn't like that? 85% of them are like that. So I'm not that worried about it. So I just wanted to throw my little I keep telling you I'm going to let you go the whole round. I can't help it. I just keep jumping in. John, we haven't talked forever, and now I'm all fired up.
I feel like it's 2 a.m. We had 20 drinks each and we're still talking, but this is what we do, man. This is what we do. Did you know, Jamie says, did you know Pickens is the great nephew of Bo Jackson?
Absolutely. That's a great call out of Jamie. I'm pretty sure he was the first one that turned me on to that little tidbit, which I love the facts. I love when Jamie brings the facts.
George's dad's father is the brother of Bo Jackson. George's dad's father is the brother of Bo Jackson. That's super cool, man.
That is fantastic. We also got a Mark brought one up here. He said he liked Pickens coming out of Georgia, which I agreed.
Yeah,
I liked coming out of Georgia. First round talent, absolutely agree with you. Immaturity, off the field issues, and the knee injury dropped him. There is no way he goes to Steelers where he goes to Steelers if he was healthy that entire season. There's no freaking way. I mean, no way. So I totally agree with Mark. Great call. I love when the Steelers got him. I was ecstatic. I knew it was going to take a little bit of time. They haven't had great QB play, but he showed you last year what he can do in a good offense with a good QB. So love that for George Pickens. Love it for the 8 million shares I have him in all my fantasy leagues.
All right, our 17 minutes of George Pickens talk is over now. Okay, we got to keep the show going.
That's it. They're done.
210, Devon A-Chain from Miami. All right, at 210. Now, listen, when there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, and that's all I hear is trade rumors with Devon. Devon A-Chain could go here. Devon A-Chain. If the Dolphins are rebuilding, what's the point of keeping A-Chain when you can get more? I mean, he's got to go somewhere. You don't have and I don't. If he stays in Miami with a shit team, I don't see him doing anything close to what he did before. So
he feels like one of the first big names that gets moved, right?
Absolutely,
because they feel like in total rebuild. I know they believe in Malik Willis. I have to tell you, I already don't believe in Malik Willis. I just think, and not that I think Malik Willis is terrible. I think this team is terrible. This feels like a team setting itself up to just bottom out.
Yes.
A-Chain just feels like the guy that's got to get moved, right? He feels like the guy that's like, he's like the last bastion of talent on this team outside of a couple good linebackers, but we're not talking IDP on this show. He's like one of the last good guys. To me, I want to go get Ollie Gordon as a backup just in case.
I got him everywhere.
Gone.
I got him everywhere.
A-Chain feels like a guy that's going to get moved. He just
the problem is that you had a quarterback in Tua before who would take 3 steps and get rid of the ball quick. 3 or 4, he'd hit these slants, these outs, these screen passes, stuff like that. That is not Malik Willis's game. Malik Willis likes to hold the ball, run around, tuck and run. If he's tucking around the ball,
play action, deep passes, roll out, move around a bunch. You're right. Like it's not his game.
When that happens, He's probably going to throw for maybe 2,000 yards, something like that. And a lot of, he's not going to get Achane is not going to get the screen passes he got from Tua. That is not going to happen. That was a lot of his fantasy value too. Plus, he's not going to get the rushes that he had before. It's a whole different world for Devon Achane right now. I do not like. If he was on my team, even if he didn't get traded, I'd be happy to get rid of him right now. Well, what would you, if you had Achane on your team? What would you be asking for right now? Maybe somebody is.
Here's a toughie for me because I have to be honest with you. In the 60 plus teams I have no Achane.
I have zero.
Stumpy, I just was one of those guys. He was just too expensive for me, or I missed him as a rookie. I just got offered a deal for him in a league the other day, and I was looking at it, and the deal seemed like it should go, like I should win the trade, but I had Luther Burden at 27 first in it, and I just couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah,
there's a couple other guys. It was Achane, it was Pitts. It was a 22nd for like Trey Harris, Luther Burden, and a 27 first. And I'm like, oh, that feels like pretty good value, but I love Burden. I like Harris, and I didn't want to give up my 27 first because I just am a little nervous about Achane this year. Not Achane the player. I'm worried about the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's all Achane the situation, of course. Yeah, that's now for you to say that you passed up a Luther Burden at 27 first for Devon Achane. That's wild. That you were going to input a 27 first and Devon Achane and Luther Burden.
Oh no, I'm making that trade in 2 seconds. No, somebody was trying to get Burden at 27 first for me, and I was like,
wait a minute,
I have to have the moon. You have to literally sell me the moon if I'm getting rid of Luther Burden at this point. I'm riding or dying until the end of time. I should probably sell him in every league because the value is crazy right now, but I just can't help myself because I overdrafted him last year in so many leagues, expecting him to go way up in value. So everybody was taking him like early to mid second. I was like moving into late first to grab him because I was like, I'm not going to wait and lose him by one pick, right? I'm not going to wait till 2-3 and hope he gets to me. I'm going to trade up. I'm going to trade a 26 first and something else, and I'm going to trade up to like 111 and get him, or 112 and get him. So that's what I did in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, man. That's just what you do. You know me, JT. Like last year, I probably made about 5 trades before the middle of the second round. I mean, I was getting all my guys, but Luther Burden was just somebody that people were not. They're like, I know who you're getting because you're in a draft with like 15 of the same guys in some of these leagues, and they all know who you watch in all my leagues. Most of my leagues are in person, so they see the board. Last year we had 4 in-person drafts in one draft, 4 in-person drafts in another day.
Just checking the board, be like, what did John take in this round? What did John take in this round? And
you traded up to get Burton. Yeah, Burton, and even like man, it sucks when you trade up to get a guy. Everybody knows who you're going to get in the next draft, especially when it's all in the same room in the same day, and they're like, this is bullshit, man. But it's kind of hard to. I wish I didn't have so many of my friends in the same like 3 or 4 or 5 leagues, and they know what I'm doing. Then it's like, but it is what it is. It's fun, but at the same time, it
always burns me in my home league because I do all my drafts for all my other leagues. Usually that I have combined drafts with other guys. I always try to do my home league first before I'm like, because here's the problem too for me, John. I'm like co-owners with a bunch of my friends in other leagues, but not in my home league. So I'm like, I want to try to get my home league out of the way before I have drafts with those guys. So I don't want to tell them everybody I like, and then they all steal them from me in the home league, right? So I try to learn my lesson of that. Home league first draft if possible, and then I'll do all the drafts. So then they can steal those guys from me in 2 or 3 other leagues, but not in the home league. So
I got 3 drafts going on 2 different days this year, and I put the ones I have the least amount of draft picks as the first one drafting. So I'm in the same boat as you.
That's just being a smart commish right there. That's heavy. All right, because we talked about a bunch here. Go 211, and then if you want to rush through third round too, do it, or I can do third round. You tell me.
You can take we'll alternate rounds here. So James Cook, Buffalo. You love James Cook. The guys I had him last year in a couple leagues. Just accidentally trading for him because I liked him. Nobody knew James Cook was going to be the absolute rocket fire explosion that he was. I mean, it was crazy how many points he scored. But Tedero McMillan, this is Nick Scripps guy. he likes him. Don't get me wrong. Tet's a great receiver. I just don't like that off. I don't like the situation, especially they're going to add someone else there. He's going to get a bunch of stuff, but I'm not. Tet's like not my type of guy. I like the Chris Godwin, the DJ Moore's, like the slot, the big slot guys kind of. Tet's like an outside guy, and it's not really my cup of tea. He plays the slot sometimes too, but I like I like dudes that are just kind of playing in the slot, getting pelted with targets, not guys that have to fight for the ball a lot, because they seem to get lost sometimes. They have great games like blow up games where they kind of have these, they get double teamed and they have shit games for a while. So I like Tet. The talent is awesome, but with the quarterback in a situation, I don't like his long-term value. So,
John, I agree with you. I like Ted a ton. He was one of my favorite players coming in the draft last year. He was my wide receiver 1, but you hit the nail on the head with him. He's a boomer bust guy a lot in fantasy. He was boomer bust in college, and he's been boomer bust a little bit in the pros. Like, he has some monster games, but then he'll have some games where he kind of disappears. Like, if you go back, look at Arizona, I mean, he was an absolute beast at Arizona, but you turn around, he'd get like 12 catches, 305 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then he'd have like 4 catches, 35 yards, 0 touchdowns. And you're like, you said 300 yards last week. He is, because he's an outside guy, he will have those monster games and those down games. I like Tet, the talent. I don't love the situation, like you said, with the Panthers. Worries me if Bryce Young doesn't ball out for the Panthers this year, which is very questionable. They're going to probably jump on the train that everybody else has and start looking for another quarterback. They're going to start doing the Arizona where they're moving Kyler Murray. They're going to be Miami Dolphins moving off Tua. They're just going to be there. So I'm a little nervous about him on that one. Before we discuss any more of these guys, I'm going to run through the third round. So without me being able to interrupt myself, we'll run through the third round and then we'll talk about third round. So 3-1. Brock Bowers, remember this is a 1.5 tight end premium. So Brock Bowers is 3-1. Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, quarterback 3-2. JT, my guy, Jonathan Taylor, 3-3. Running back Colts. Trey McBride, another tight end. As soon as you see that first tight end go in the startup, you better be ready to take them if you want a tight end guy, because that's where they're going. Trey McBride, Arizona Cardinals, 3-4. Chris Olave, New Orleans Saints, 3-5. Amarian Hampton, Chargers, 3-6. Colston Loveland, 3-7. Chicago Bears, second-year tight end. Then sorry about that. Jackson Dart, Giants quarterback at 3-8, 3-9. My boy, that took Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver Arizona. I still believe. And then Nico Collins, 3-10. Houston, Chase Brown, another nice guy. Illini, 3-11. Cincinnati Bengals running back, and then Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver, Tampa Bay at 3-12 to finish out that round. John, what do you think about this third round? And I was going to pull up. Jamie says a while ago, I've been saving it in the chat. He loves that Neighbors Dart combo. I'm a huge combo guy. I love that combo. I thought that was a great move there.
I was never a stack guy until a couple years ago, and now I use stacks whenever I possibly can. And it's not. I know I hear it's like a best ball thing and blah blah. It's a thing on every team. If you like scoring points, why wouldn't you want a good quarterback with a good wide receiver? And just to clarify, like last year, I was taking Emeka Ibuka before Ted McMillan to me was like a consolation prize if I couldn't get Ibuka. I'm like, all right, I got Ted somewhere, And I've only got Ted in a couple of leagues. I was pissed if I didn't get Emeka Ibuka, but I traded Rashee Rice in a late second to get Emeka Ibuka during the live draft at 201 last year, and I was like, yes, I was so happy about that. He falls right into Chris Godwin, DJ Moore kind of player. I love the big slots, so it is what it is. Again, the Neighbors Dart combo is absolutely perfect, but in this round, the tight ends, Bowers, McBride. Loveland, waiting to get Loveland at 3-7 in a tight end premium. Now I understand. I think because of the fact that I'm in 1.75 and like a full point tight end premiums, I'm like, holy cow, Colson Loveland went to 3.7 in this draft. That's crazy, but it's only a 1.5 PPR bonus, so it's not the biggest.
If you're in a 1.75 or 2 tight end premium PPR, I think you're going to see these tight ends come off the board in the second.
Absolutely.
I'm just warning you, it's going to be a little bit of scoring dependent. If I'm in a no PPR tight end premium at all for tight ends, these guys are probably going to drop at least 1 or 2 more rounds, I would think. Mm-hmm. But as the premium rises, you're going to see Bowers, McBride 100% go earlier. And I think you're going to see that Loveland Warren keep moving up. I think people really I believe in both of them. Yeah. I think they're both going to be really good. So I think I really think Bowers and McBride are the top of the tier 1. I think Loveland and Warren are tier 2 for me, right underneath them for Dynasty. I think those are the next big guys. So I have no problem overpaying for them. Honestly, I love Marvin Harrison Jr., so I took him when he got to me. Mm-hmm. If any of those 3 guys would have got to me, I probably would have taken him. I was questioning taking Warren, to be honest with you. The only reason I didn't is I thought there was just a chance he might get back to me. Mm-hmm. I thought Marvin Harrison would not get back to me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take Marvin Harrison, and then hopefully Warren gets back to me. He got snaked the pick before me, and we're going to go through this 4th round in a second. But this is where I screwed up, John. Stayed up all night, working on articles, slept through my pick. I did not set my auto draft like a jerk. I did not set my auto draft, which I almost always do. And I got Garrett Wilson, which, guess who would have been my pick here instead of Garrett Wilson if I would not have auto drafted on accident?
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren went the pick before me.
Oh.
I would have taken Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's the guy I wanted. That's why I missed my auto draft. I had Tyler Warren as my guy at the top of the list. He got drafted before me and then ended up going auto draft, and I didn't get my guy. Look through the lists. Who do you think? Go to the first pick. Go to the first pick. Who do you think?
T. Higgins? What are you talking
about? Luther Burden.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Come on.
That's 2 rounds later.
I would have taken Luther Burden. I would have taken Luther Burden. Even though I think Garrett Wilson's great. I like Garrett Wilson a lot.
And it's tight end premium. You would have passed up Tyler. You would have passed up.
No, I would have taken Tyler Warren first. He got picked the pick before me. That's what I was saying. That's why I messed up. I had Tyler Warren in my queue to go. I fell asleep, didn't hit auto draft, and then he got picked. So then he would have been my pick, but I got Garrett Wilson instead because I messed up and I forgot to move up Burton behind Tyler Warren, and I left it. So
listening is a skill, JT. I was reading the rest of this draft.
You're okay. I was trying to help you out and walk you into that one because you know how much I love Burton. So
I dropped the ball. The man, the myth, the legend, Jorge.
The guy,
Jorge, thank you for joining us here. So
thanks, Jorge. Hey, just a shout out since Jorge jumped in here. We are going to be doing another startup mock draft for Fantasy and Frames coming up. So be ready for that. If you want to get into that, hit up Jorge or hit up me or any of the guys for Fantasy and Frames on X. You can send an email to fantasyandframes@gmail.com. Send it to any of us. If you want to get in, we'll hit you up, let you know. Going to be probably next week sometime. So if you're interested in just jumping in and drafting with us, we're going to get a couple more of those going. So just a heads up there.
I love when you send these invites to me, but I've been working so many hours the last couple of weeks, man. I just got up, I worked 12 hours today. I got up at 4 a.m, got home at 8:30. It's my normal life every day. So
John, I was doing 1 million mock drafts and then NCAA tournament hit, and I've been crazy. Illinois going nuts, making the Final Four. Work's been out of control. Everybody's been packed. Everyone's been out for all the games. So I've been a little behind on the mock drafts. I got a couple college ones I'm doing right now, but I'm going to pick up the mock. I was sending out mock drafts like every week. Now I'm like, as soon as I'm going to the Final Four this weekend, you want Final Four Indy, let's go Illini. But after that, I'll be back in the mix on the mock drafts and send those out to people that want to get in. So hit me up if you're interested in any mock drafts, different formats, I get in them, I send them out to other people. Hit me up at JT Orange on Twitter or the X, whatever you like to call it.
All right, let's go
John,
to the fourth round.
Before we jump in there, we got a couple comments here about this round. Mark jumped in, said, don't like Olave pick. Seems early. Love Bowers, McBride, Loveland, Harrison, Ibuka. I kind of agree with him, though. I like the upside of Olave. I have to be honest. I trade the only 27 first I've traded away in any league. In any league was my Dynasty mixed home IDP league. My big league that I run. I've never won it in over a decade. I've got the best overall record in the league, but I've never won it. I've lost the championship game so many times, and I finished third a ton of times. I traded for Olave because I was getting a little injured, little beat up at wide receiver. I gave up a 27 first for Olave, and he absolutely came through for me down the stretch. I talked mad smack about Tyler Shuck, and he hit my boy Olave. I helped me win the championship, so I can't hate him for there. It does seem a hair early for him, but I do have to throw some love Olave's way.
Would you do that in a 1.75 tight end premium? Would you trade away Chris Olave to get Colson Loveland?
In a 1.75 tight end premium, I would.
It's killing me not to do that, but I already have McBride on a team. And it's like, man, and you can start two tight ends. There's a tight end.
In 175, though, if I can start two tight ends in 175, I just feel like here's the thing is I'm going to probably get hate from this. I think Adunze is going to be good, but I think Loveland and Burton are the future of the Bears. I think Williams is going to be all over those two guys. I think Adunze is going to be good, but I think he's going to be wide receiver on this. Wide receiver 3 on this team.
I think all these skill positions players on the Bears are going to be good, not great. And unless you take Caleb, like the only person I think to take is Caleb Williams. The rest of the guys are going to be like good, but not like fantasy. Just absolutely, they're going to kind of consume each other, on the targets.
Being in Chicago, being on the Bears is always a little bit of like offense. Like how much offense are we really going to get out of these guys? It's just Bears history. So it's if New Orleans had a absolute quarterback I trusted, I would like Olave more. I don't love Shuck. He was pretty good at the end of last year. I'm still not super confident in him. I know other people are. I do like Olave's talent, though, especially once they moved Rashid Shaheed. Yeah. He almost had no one else to throw to. So I was like, just keep chucking it to Olave. So he up in the air there, depending on your team needs, but I probably in a 1.75 would go.
What about a 1.5, not a 1.75? Same trade.
Definitely closer to me. That would totally depend on team build. If I needed a wideout or if I needed a tight end. If it's like a start 3 tight end or start 3 wideout, and I had 2 really strong wideouts, but not a really strong third wideout, I'd probably want Olave to make sure I had a guy I could play every week.
And it's funny, we're talking about 0.25 points. It's different of like a point a game, maybe, maybe a point and a half a game at the very most kind of thing. It's not that big of a deal, but it's enough to kind of put it over the edge, So
yeah. What you're hoping with Loveland is he's just scratched the surface. That's what you're hoping. You're hoping you're buying semi-low because he's gonna crush. Eventually here. That's what you're hoping is he becomes like the alpha tight end on this team, and he ends up being a top 5 fantasy tight end for the next 10 years. That's what you're hoping.
When you get these drafts going, send one to Jamie. He's always ready to mock draft, okay?
So I will get you in the mix, Jamie. Like I said, I've been behind the last couple of weeks. I've been knee deep in NCAA basketball, so favorite time of year, but we're getting back into football here. One good weekend away, and then we're back here. John, do you want to read off round 4 here? Yep. So
I am trying to get Ladd McConkey everywhere. That's just one of those things where I think he's going to actually just go nuclear this year. So McConkey in a 4-4-1 is a great pick here. It's probably where I want him at. that some people are like McConkey.
Dude, the Herbert McConkey the stack here
Again,
is
the stack,
phenomenal.
yes.
Phenomenal.
The stack,
I
yes.
wanted Herbert on the way back and then T-Law, and Herbert got taken from me in that second. That's who I had my on, was Herbert.
You know what's funny?
T-Law.
You probably could have took Herbert at the 1-9 and came back and still got Trevor Lawrence.
I almost thought about it. Like I told you, I was looking at all those QBs. I almost went those QBs first, and then I came back with another QB after that, and I didn't. Still happy with what I got, but yeah. These are why we do the mocks, right? You got to look and say, oh, if I would have done that a little bit differently, maybe I would switch this.
Some people would have let McConkey fall in our 2 rounds. I probably would have took him right around the Ibuka McConkey area. That would have been my – if I was a 12 pick, if I was number 12 and that was me, and I always pick from 1 or 12, that was 100% the back-to-backs. I would have got Ibuka and Ladd McConkey right there in that area. So 100%. So then we got Bo Nix, quarterback, Denver Broncos, Tyler Warren, the Indianapolis Colts, your boy, Garrett Wilson, man – unless I don't know. Garrett Wilson is just dying a slow death in New York, but it is what it is. Rashee Rice. Now, Mark had made a comment before about. Here we go.
Just bring it up right now. There you go.
Bust alert. Rashee Rice last year of rookie contract. I think looking at the lengthy suspension, no guarantee he stays in KC. KC's been rumored to go after wide receiver here too. Bust alert. You can say whatever you want to about him. He's a good football player. He does not need the Kansas City Chiefs to be a good football player. He's still young. He's still good. Yes, the knucklehead factor, as they call it, is part of the situation. But, man, he can go a lot of places and still be a pretty good receiver. So if you can get Rashee Rice low, get through the suspension, hopefully he gets, winds up somewhere, gets his life together. You never know. I'll take Rashee Rice. This is a little bit early for me for Rashee Rice. I get it, Mark. But, he's still in this area. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Mark here. Like, I don't have problems still taking a chance on Rashee Rice, but like, looking at all the wideouts that went after him,
I
would
have took Devonta Smith before him.
I would have probably waited. He probably could have got Rice on the way back, where he got Bucky Irvin. So that's my only dig there. 100%. I think I could have waited on him a bit.
Especially, Dak, the next pick is Brock Purdy, San Francisco. Brock Purdy is game manager. He gets 250 points, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns a game. Nothing special. Doesn't wet my whistle. Dak Prescott does wet my whistle. I love it. He just falls back and just throws 1,000 passes a game. And he's got good receivers too. Depending on what happens with your boy Pickens, we'll see. They tagged him, but he may go somewhere else. They might have to trade him. Jameson Williams, another guy in the up-and-coming list here. I like James Williams a ton. A.J. Brown, I got him in a couple leagues. I may trying to trade him, but I'm afraid that he's going to get traded this offseason, go somewhere where he's going to go absolutely, I don't want to say nuclear because that's kind of I've been using already that too many times, but he has a chance to go somewhere. Why can't A.J. Brown just go to Buffalo and be on the outside? There's no better place for A.J. Brown than Buffalo. I don't see him fitting anywhere else besides there, but it's a money situation. He's probably not going there. Devonta Smith, I would have took the Slim Reaper over Rashee Rice. I would have took the Slim Reaper over Garrett Wilson probably. I would have took him over T. Higgins. I would have took him over Luther Burden. He fell. So that was the next pick, 410. 411, Breece Hall, fair pick. Eventually Breece Hall is going to either get off the Jets or the Jets are going to get on the Breece Hall train and get him going. He has a lot of good games too, but he's got so many factors working against him in New York. And the final pick for the 4th round, 412, T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. There's some questionable picks here. Of course, we talked about Rashee Rice and Brock Purdy. You kind of have to just take there, even though he's not exciting, but he gets the job done. And Jameson Williams, I think a lot of people are undervaluing Jameson Williams. What do you think about this round, JT?
Yeah, I still like Breece Hall, even with all the stuff that's happened. Yeah. I really think he's a good player. He's been on a terrible team the whole time. I'm not totally done with A.J. Brown, even though I know it's been a little filthy. I know Dak's older than Purdy. Fancy purposes, I probably want Dak instead, to be honest with you.
Sure, absolutely.
I probably would have thought about taking Dak or Purdy if in this if I wouldn't have messed up and taken Garrett Wilson on the accident auto. But I thought it was a solid round. Like I said, Tyler Warren, I felt like was a absolute steal in this round. I'm actually a little surprised that Knicks fell to the fourth. Yeah. I'm not a Knicks guy, to be honest with you. I think he's a decent QB. I think he's going to be okay in the NFL. I just don't know if he's ever going to be. I think people are hoping that he's going to end up being Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Right? The Sean Payton connection, all that jazz. I like Bo Nix. Seems like a good kid. Has played really good the first couple of years. I'm just not sold on him as a fantasy guy for a lot. Like, I think he's going to be a good quarterback for a long time, but I'm just not sold on him. So I'm skipping on him. I would have loved Tyler Warren. Waiting to get him after the top three guys win, I thought was an absolute steal. I really feel like wide receiver here is getting wild because you're like, man, who do you like? A lot of the best players are coming up, and you're like, okay, I like that player, right? But I hate his quarterback. Or I like that player, and I hate his offense. Oh, I don't really like that guy, but his offense is great. His quarterback's awesome. So now I feel like we're getting in that realm when you get these middle rounds. Is like, do you want to trust the quarterback or do you want to trust the talent of the player, even if his offense's quarterback sucks? So I feel like that's really where we're turning this corner here in the next couple rounds as far as wide receivers. As you see after this round, John, the wide receivers start really thinning out as everybody starts hitting tight end hard, running back hard, and quarterback hard for all the guys that didn't take them early on.
Plus, the receivers get real ugly. In the next couple rounds, you can see it's like, ugh. It's like, oh, man.
Usually you feel like in this type of format, you're like, man, so many wide receivers, so many good players out there. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, it's all question marks. Fall off. It's starting to fall off real quickly. Yes. So I agree with you on that. I'm going to run through we're at fifth round here.
Yep.
My boy Luther Burton, 5'1", in a startup. Tough to take him. I have to be honest with people. You're really taking a chance. I love him, but I took him in a rookie draft, so I have less capital invested in him. Travion Henderson, 5'2", New England, hoping he eventually takes over that role. Going there, he's got with the Drake May. Even that's a little bit of a stack I like. Kenny Walker going 5'3". New Chief is there. Adunze, like I just said, now you're looking at it. Adunze, Burden, right next, 3 picks away from each other going 5'4". Quinshon Judkins, 5'5". I think if it wasn't for the knee injury at the end of last year, I think he goes way higher than this, to be honest with you. It's just, I think people are nervous, and they're nervous about Cleveland, which you should always be nervous about Cleveland, Jamie. Sorry to say that. Harold Fannin at 5'6". Fannin, a guy rising up draft boards.
No more Njoku.
No more Njoku. He proved that he can play at the NFL level. Had one of the worst combines I've ever seen. I saw him in person. I was like, this guy. I watched the film. I'm like, this guy is so much better on film than he played at the combine. He's just a football player. I think he has success right on. So I like 5'6". It's a little bit of a your wish casting, but here outside of the top guys, I don't hate it. Tucker Kraft coming off the injury, 5'7" from Green Bay, going there. 5'8", Bucky Irvin, Tampa Bay. This is where I jumped in. I was like, okay, quarterbacks are going to have to start flying soon. I still believe in C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was a top 5 pick 2 years ago in startup drafts. I'm like, I still believe in his talent and his ability. So I jumped on C.J. Stroud at 5'9". Saquon Barkley, 5'10", which is pretty interesting that JT went 3'3" and Barkley went 5'10", almost 2.5 rounds later. They're a couple years apart. JT's still a little younger, but a little interesting to see 3 rounds apart. Christian McCaffrey right after him. So if you're looking to build a team with those veteran running backs, this is a good example to look at. 4, 5, 6. That's the round you need to start looking at those veteran running backs if you skip guys early on. McCaffrey went 5'11", and then we got Kyron Williams For the Rams, 5-12 as people started filling in running back here. John, what did you think about this 5th round?
I can't believe that Kyron Williams is in the same conversation with Barkley and McCaffrey. That kind of hurts my feelings, but I know that Kyron Williams has a big role too. And Bucky Irving, I feel like if you didn't get rid of Bucky, you should have sold him a year too early than a year too late. I think he's going to have a really down year this year. He's not going to be the Bucky Irving that he showed flashes of earlier in the season last year. But this round, let me ask you a question. Ken Walker, I'm going to go through the last round. Would you take Ken Walker over Garrett Wilson? Now that he's on the Chiefs, now that he's going to get all the receiving out of the backfield, and let's just say you're up. Would you be eyeballing Ken Walker or Garrett Wilson? This is a startup dynasty draft.
This is a toughie because I like Kenny Walker more than a lot of people. I know the injuries have been there. I believe in the talent with him.
I love him.
Him going to the Chiefs, to me, gosh, they've done so much with so little the last couple of years. and when Andy Reid's had any kind of decent running back, he's made them look amazing. So I have to tell you, I'm a little bit on the Kenny Walker hype train right now, knowing that he isn't dealing with Charbonnet anymore, and that even though the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, all about it. Sam Darnold, me and John, the very first 2 people that said Sam Darnold could win a Super Bowl. We said it 3 years ago. We told everybody. No one likes to hear it, but we did.
He did it.
We said he could be good if he got on a good team. He could win it. We said that, so I'll keep bringing it up. Kenny Walker, I think this Chiefs team is going to come back fired up this year. Now, the question is, how much of a healthy Mahomes do they have all year? I know they just got Justin Fields, which I feel like he's been totally jerked around. But if anybody can make Justin Fields money in the future, it's got to be Andy Reid, right? If you can get Justin Fields and Kenny Walker dominating early in the season for the Chiefs, he could probably make us some money. I like Kenny Walker. I'm probably taking Kenny Walker over Garrett Wilson in most circumstances in a startup draft. Because, again, Kenny Walker's still young. He's had some injuries, but he doesn't have a million carries. That's the other thing. It's not like he's had, a bunch of 250-plus yard carry seasons. He hasn't. So I think there's a decent amount left on the tread for him.
Just, okay, say the player or say Kenny Walker, okay? So Chase Brown or Kenny Walker?
I know you love to bring up my favorite players. I love Chase Brown, but I think Kenny Walker over Chase Brown just slightly right now, which is crazy because he just went a round and a half later.
Just say the player. We're not get out of there.
Sorry, go.
Kenny Walker or Garrett Wilson? I'm 52-48. Ken Walker over Garrett Wilson. Okay, you already answered that one. Kenny Walker or Rashee Rice?
I gotta go Walker right now.
100% Walker. Kenny Walker or Brock Purdy in a SuperFlex? I feel like Brock Purdy's a lot more replaceable than Ken Walker is.
I agree. I don't mind Purdy, but I want Purdy if he falls to me. I'm not overdrafting Purdy in SuperFlex. I like it, but I'm like, if he falls to me as my second QB, I like it.
Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield.
That's what I'm saying. I'm probably drafting Kenny Walker first because I'm assuming that I'm going to need to draft Kenny Walker before Purdy.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay. All right, I would take Dak Prescott over Ken Walker just because of the fantasy points with that one. That's just me. Ken Walker or Jameson Williams?
I'm Kenny Walker.
Yeah, same. A.J. Brown or Kenny Walker?
That's closer for me. That's a lot.
Still on the Eagles. Still on the Eagles.
I'm gonna say Kenny Walker right now only because of the uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
I always hate taking a guy that's unhappy. When a guy seems unhappy, I'm like, does that mean he's going to get traded to an awesome place, or he's going to end up in a horrible position where now all of a sudden AJ Brown's back on the Titans, and we're like, dang it.
And AJ Brown seems like the kind of player, no matter how much money he gets, he's going to be miserable somewhere. He's always got something to complain about. That kind of guy. Ken Walker or Slim Reaper, Devonta Smith.
Ooh, that's super close. For me, probably slightly Kenny Walker.
Oh man, that's like
It's
50,
super close though. I know you love Devontae. I like him too. I probably just because of the scarcity at running back right now and the fact that Walker's now on the Chiefs. I feel like I'm totally blindly diving in that a Chiefs running back is going to be good, right?
Yeah.
I accept that I'm doing that right now, but I actually feel like he's going to be good for the Chiefs.
Ken Walker or Breece Hall?
Ooh, those guys are literally in my rankings, like right next to each other.
Yeah, it's
like,
almost
right
like
next to
each
other. Here's the thing: is I think Breece Hall's a better player. Kenny Walker's on a much better team.
Much better.
So that's the question. If
Sure.
you had equal teams, I would take Breece Hall over Kenny Walker. In this situation, I'm probably leaning Kenny Walker just because he's on the Chiefs.
Yeah. Imagine if Breece Hall went to the Chiefs if he got like let.
Oh, Breece Hall's on the Chiefs. Breece Hall is in my second round. I'm taking him in the second round.
Yeah, right.
I think people forget how good Breece Hall really is. He's just been in such a terrible situation for so long.
Yeah.
I think people just don't realize how good of a player he really is.
And then it goes T. Higgins, Luther Burden. But I mean, I just can't believe that somebody took Travion Henderson over Ken Walker. I can't believe that. I like Travion Henderson, but Ken Walker is a better player in a better situation across the board. I just can't believe that somebody passed up on Kenneth Walker to take Travion Henderson. That kind of hurts my feelings.
For me, if you're doing that, it's probably because you're going. Maybe you're a Patriots fan because you took Drake May too, but also you're maybe trying to buy a little bit of the dip on Henderson. Everybody expected him to be the man right out of the bat, absolute stud, leading the way for the Patriots. He wasn't. So maybe you're trying, and I can see this. I've done this before. I overdraft the guy slightly because I'm like, I think he's going to blow up, and I'm going to take him a little early just because I don't think he might get back to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see him going like, oh, I like these other running backs, but like I really like Travion Henderson, and he's no way he's getting back to me. So I overdraft him, which I will do in drafts where maybe I take a guy I really like who's maybe 4 or 5, technically 4, 5, 6 guys ranked lower than guys I have. But I'm like, that other guy's not going to get back to me, and I really want to have him, especially if he's younger.
Yeah.
I think where the Travion Henderson comes on, younger, on a good team. I could see somebody making the argument for it.
Yeah. I mean, I like taking my time and finding these drafts, these little like diamonds in the rough in the middle of drafts and kind of comparing it to where they went before and after. So, I'm sorry if I take up a little bit too much time on some guys sometimes, but it's, I think that Ken Walker in this situation was kind of super underdrafted. But I'm going to jump to the next round here, JT. It's the 6th round here, 6 of 9. Jalen Waddle, Denver Broncos, new home. A lot of receivers don't just kill right out of the box when they go somewhere else right away. So Garrett Wilson, Dynasty, Ken Walker for a redraft. All right, I can see that. Brian Thomas, Jacksonville Jaguars, another guy that might find a new home soon. We'll see. I don't think he's going anywhere, but, where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes. Josh Jacobs, I traded Josh Jacobs like 2 years ago thinking that he was going to be done. He's due for an injury. Dude, just sticking it up my ass. But now, sometimes I better trade too early than too late, but I traded way too early on Josh Jacobs. RJ Harvey, never really been a fan. I think he's average.
Another JT sleeping in the middle of the day because I stayed up all night. Auto draft. I do not like RJ Harvey. I would not have taken RJ Harvey in a million years here. I have to be honest with you. There's no freaking way I would have taken RJ Harvey. You know who I would have taken here? That guy that just went right after me. I would have taken Sam Laporta because I missed out on Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta would have been my guy here. I blew it. I blew it, people. I'll be honest. I blew it. I would have absolutely taken Laporta as my guy.
Doesn't Sam Laporta have doesn't he have some like back injury going on too? I was kind of worried that
he's had some issues. He's an Iowa guy. He's gonna get it together. I like Laporta. I think they're gonna get him back in the mix. I really do. I like him still in a tight end premium, especially this late. If I've already waited, so like off the board, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's the 7th tight end off the board. I'm in on that. I'll just tell you right now, I'm in on Laporta as tight end 7, especially in a tight end premium where I can get him in the 6th round. So I would have been there.
6th round, JT got his guy RJ Harvey. Okay, and he reached for him. Like he was kind of. I think he made a trade to get RJ Harvey. And then Sam Laporta, tight end premium. Baker. Remember we got Andy Behrens to say Baker touchdown maker on our show. That was hilarious. I got to find that and replay it or something.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Travis Etienne in New Orleans. I mean, he honestly could take over that powerhouse role.
You figured them making the move to him, he's got to, right?
He has to.
Kamara is going to retire or he's going to split with him a little bit, but you don't go out and sign Etienne if you're like, oh no, Kamara's still our guy.
Yeah,
come on.
They may just trade him and say, Kamara, it's been a slice, so you can get out of here.
And the problem with Kamara is the big issue has been he's made it pretty clear he doesn't want to get traded.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. You kind of see what happens there. So far right now, it's really killing all my Devin Neal shares, but those might have been dead in the water anyway. We'll move on.
Yeah. That's the problem with having these 30-man rosters. When you try to trade for a guy like Devin Neal, people are still like, I'm going to hold him. It's like there's room to hold. And I hate small roster because I like harvesting everybody, but at the same time, it kills you when you try to trade for these guys too. But
John, you can't have a small roster because you can't take a bunch of 4th and 5th round rookie tight ends and hold them for 3 or 4 years.
That's what I do, baby. That's what I do.
I know, you and me both, brother.
All right. So then we go to after that is Zay Flowers from Baltimore Ravens. Zay Flowers is expecting to get some company in the draft this year.
Yeah, 6 rounds, pretty good for Zay Flowers, though. That tells you how little people believe in the Ravens right now.
Hey, man, I traded a 302. I traded a 302 and I got Zay Flowers in the league from a guy who didn't believe in him. So, I mean, that's a rookie 302. Yes. Yes.
Oh, John. Oh, John, this is stealing. That's just stealing.
Jordan Love, who I do not like. I mean, you can say all you want. People love him, people hate him. I am not in the Jordan Love, fan camp.
Jordan Love is an absolute better NFL quarterback than he is fantasy, and I don't even love him as an NFL quarterback. If that tells you anything.
And that's not saying because I'm a Bears fan. It's not saying that it's a cheesehead shit like that. It's not. I just don't like Jordan Love as a quarterback. Kyle Pitts. Another polarizing guy. He is not going to have the Kyle Pitts 17 catches for 973 yards and 5 touchdown playoff performance all the time. But that's just 6 people's heads what he possibly could do. If you did not trade for Kyle Pitts before that game, you are not getting Kyle Pitts for another 2 years. It's just the way fantasy football works.
John, I had a guy who is literally the guy I told you earlier about one of the trades. He has been hitting me up for probably 3 weeks straight with trades, and he's doing nothing but trying to get Luther Burden from me and trying to give me Kyle Pitts in a non-tight end premium. 0 tight end, not even 2-5, not 5, 0 tight end premium league. I got Travis Kelce, and I'm like, I'll just sit on Travis Kelce in a non-tight end premium league. Not going to hurt me. And he's just been trying to offload nonstop Pitts to me with a bunch of other pieces to get Burden.
Yeah, I like Pitts as much as the next guy, but all right, DK Metcalf at 6'1", so 6'11", and then Jared Goff at 6'12". That's pretty good value for Jared Goff at 6'12". I traded Jared Goff away about 4 years ago, thinking that was it, and then he signed that big contract, and he's doing awesome, and it's like shit, man. Sometimes you really kick yourself right in the arse, and it's like, so it is what it is. Mark, I see you got a couple comments in there. We'll get to you in 1 minute. JT, you want to answer the questions or whatever? Or
let me run through the 7th here real quick, and then let's jump into the questions just to get it out of the way. So 7-1, Javonte Williams, running back Dallas, got a new contract. Good for him. Christian Watson, 7-2, wide receiver, Green Bay. So let's put this on your marker, folks. 6th round to 7th round, we went from Jalen Waddle, Brian Thomas, Zay Flowers, and DK Metcalf to Christian Watson, Michael Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Myers, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Hunter the next round.
Yeah.
Drop off hits big. So be careful. Watch for the drop off. Just had to throw in there. All right. 7-3, Daniel Jones. I'm just, as a Colts fan, really struggling with this. I hope he somehow comes back and plays better than Danny Dimes in the past. Kyler Murray, 7-4, 7-5. Tyler Shuck. I don't really believe in Tyler Shuck at all, to be honest with you. But like him going like later than Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray kind of surprised me here when like Murray just got traded on a 1-year deal with the Vikings and Daniel Jones is like coming off an Achilles injury. Like, who knows? They say he's going to be ready for the season. I'm not sure I believe it. He also started falling apart before he got hurt at the end of the year. So I thought that was interesting. Michael Wilson at 7-6, wide receiver, Arizona. Cam Scatabo, 7-7, New York Giants. Running back, Pearsall, 7-8, San Francisco wide receiver. Then Travis Hunter. We're going to get to the comment here about Travis Hunter in just a second. At 7-9, wide receiver, Jacksonville. Sam Darnold at 7-10. Our boy, Sam Darnold, the only thing he killed me, he didn't win Super Bowl MVP, which I had to bet on. Myers, 7-11, wide receiver, Jacksonville, signed a new deal. Jacksonville, he should be there for a while. John, I took a little bit of a ballsy move. I took Hunter over Myers. That's a ballsy move by me with the Lawrence stack. I will say that, but I really like Travis Hunter. We'll talk about him in just a second. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, one of my favorite under-the-radar guys, going at 7-12, the new Tennessee wide receiver. Let's talk about this 7th round, John.
This is like an entire round of guys I traded for this year. I traded away. I was in the championship game, so I needed a wide receiver. I traded away I gave somebody the 112 from what would have been like, it would have been, if I would have won, it would have been the 112. I got Wan'Dale Robinson in the 201. Like, I moved up one spot to get Wan'Dale. Why wouldn't you do that? You know, and I'm going in the championship game. Somebody else wanted to play piggy bump up a couple spots, you know, and I just said, I kind of held my ground. He was asking for a whole bunch more. I held my ground. He got the 112. I got Wan'Dale Robinson, and he got, now it was the 201, whatever. So it was 27 second. It was the 112 this year if I would have won, and I got a 27 second, which is going to be early, and Wan'Dale Robinson. So I'm like, yes, I'll do that. I traded for
John. Was that, hold on real quick, was that Wan'Dale Robinson trade in Baby and Boomers?
Yes,
league, or?
yes.
I'm so freaking mad. I was delaying. I was sending messages back and forth. I wanted Wan'Dale. You made the deal, stole it from me in the playoffs, cost me a championship.
Yeah, you got smoked.
Great move by you. I was really mad at myself. I blew that. That was one of those times I was like, I was trying to work a trade a little better. I wanted a little bit of a better deal for myself. And I got really mad at myself because you jumped in, made that trade for Wan'Dale. I thought it was a great move. I usually would hate anyone going to Tennessee, to be honest with you. Yeah. I actually like this move for Wan'Dale. I actually think he is going to be – I think he's going to be that guy that you put in as wide receiver 3, or if you're going to start wide receiver 2 league, you put him as a flex play and you just add the points up. Just added him up all year. I think he is so much better than the guys they have on their team right now. I'm a Wan'Dale fan. I think he's going to be really good on that team.
Especially because you got a quarterback that likes to look for the scrambles a lot, looks for guys that get open, and Wan'Dale's a guy that gets open for sure. So Jorge, Wan'Dale truther here, of course.
Oh, Jorge, me and Jorge have been pumping Rondell up for a couple years here. Love him. I tell you what, if he wouldn't have got the knee injury, I think it was his second year. He was breaking out his second year when he got the knee injury. Man, I was picking him up everywhere, trading for him, drafting him. I was just like, man, I saw him in college. Not a very good offense. And that guy, he was just a baller, man. So love that. Jorge was all over that one.
I made a trade this year too. I traded away the 106. I got the 109 and Kyler Murray, and I gave away a third, and I got a 27 second back. So I moved down 3 spots and flipped spots to get Kyler Murray on Minnesota. in a super flex, and he's my third quarterback now. I got Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, so he's going to piecemeal at the beginning of the season probably, but I couldn't pass that one up. Michael Wilson, another one, babies and boomers. I traded for Michael Wilson too in a championship game. I gave away, I think it was a 27-second, which I don't think Michael Wilson's worth a 27-second, but in those situations you have to do what you got to do, but I gave away I think that was what I traded.
I wouldn't usually make that trade, but if I was last year going for a championship, I'm probably pulling that trigger, right? Michael Wilson was on a tear. I had a league where I just made the playoffs as the 8th seed in a 14-team league with 8 teams making the playoffs. I made it last seed. Michael Wilson, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Ray Davis, they kind of kick return yards in this league, and Ray Davis with Luther Burden and Colson Loveland led me to the freaking championship. As the 8th seed, I was under 500 in a median scoring league. I beat the number 1 seed the last week of the year to get in the playoffs, beat him the first round again, and then ran my way to the championship. It was freaking fantastic. Loved it.
Is that when Ray Davis had the touchdown, the return touchdown?
Yes, he scored me a ton of points. All of a sudden they had this crazy return yards, which I'm still gonna say I think it was shady. I don't think we actually had rules. I think the guy that ran the league just all of a sudden put a bunch of return yard scoring league in there. I figured it out, picked up Ray Davis, he killed it for me. We'll talk about my guy right here real quick. Mark brought it up earlier. He says, I'm hearing Travis Hunter. Going to focus on defense. Love the talent, but lack of usage seems risky. I agree, Mark. So a little bit ballsy of me to take Hunter over Meyer. I have to agree with you there. Dynasty, I'm willing to play the long game with Hunter because I do think he is uber talented. I think he's one of the most talented guys out there. A little bit rough rookie year. The injury, he was starting to break out just as the Jags were putting it together. I do think he plays a little more defense in an IDP league, and we'll get into this tomorrow night on Fantasy and Frames. So join us tomorrow night at Fantasy and Frames. We're going to do an IDP startup mock where we'll talk a bunch about Hunter and where I'm taking Hunter in those leagues. He's a much riskier play in straight offensive leagues. So, Mark, I absolutely agree with you. Much riskier play. I'm playing the long game with Hunter. That even if he does play more defense this year, in the long run, he is going to play more offense. So it is a risky call by me taking him over Myers, though.
JT, I was waiting for that question to come up here. I was waiting to press the button. You beat me to it. I can't believe you took Travis Hunter over Sam Darnold. Not for the fact of the matter that we like Sam Darnold. Not for the fact of the matter that, I think Sam Darnold is a better player. He's going to score more fantasy points, even if Travis Hunter was the pan out this year. But just, it's a dynasty super flex. I know you got 2 quarterbacks. I think you can only take 2 quarterbacks in this situation, but man, you could have gotten Justin Herbert in round 1 and waited all the way until round 7 and took Sam Darnold here. And I guess because of the fact you already had 2 quarterbacks, I guess that's why I could see where the Travis Hunter situation came in. But man, I wouldn't, even if I had 2 quarterbacks, I would have took a third and got Sam Darnold. So I would have taken a little bit.
I have to be honest with you. Looking back at that, I really love Hunter. I'm a Hunter guy.
I know how much
I gotta get my dudes, but I think you're right. When you brought that up to me, you're like, dude, I can't believe you passed on Sam Darnold. I looked at it, I was like, shit, I can't believe I passed on Sam Darnold either. You're right. I probably, in reality, I should have taken Sam Darnold because I'm guessing Hunter would have got back to me anyway. Yeah. So that was a miscalculation on my part. Assuming Myers, Wan'Dale went right after me, I should have went Darnold and then taken whoever fell to me out of that next group. I agree with you there.
I would have been in the 5th round, Ken Walker kind of like Sam Darnold in that area. Kind of, I would have paid a lot more for him than where he fell in this draft. So
I definitely would have taken Ken Walker over Wilson.
Oh, sure.
If I didn't get auto drafted, that was totally my bad. I would have been very between. It would have been Burden Walker for me.
Yeah. All right. I
was kind of building a QB QB wide receiver build, so that's kind of why I was leaning.
Are you in the 8th round, or is this me now?
I think it's you, but I can read if you want.
No, I got it. 8-1, Aronde Gadsden, another one. JT, you love him. I like Aronde Gadsden back in Dan Marino. I just watched every time I see a Dan Marino clip come up, I see his dad catch touchdowns with Dan Marino, and I just for that the old Dolphins uniform just kind of rings my bell about his dad, and how much I like that dude. But you called him a long time before I got him. I got Aronde Gadsden in the 4th round at a shit ton of drafts. Super happy about that. But Aronde Gadsden, DJ Moore, the new Buffalo Bill, the savior for Josh Allen. DJ Moore is so underrated. I think his bad attitude came from the bad Bears days and the bad everything days, and him kind of like, man, I'm going through this shit again. Now I'm getting passed up. Like it was some shitty times in Chicago where he wasn't the hero, but man, when he came up big games, he had big games. I just hope he could be a little bit more, not so big game-ishy, just more of a constant contributor. So Derrick Henry, I traded away Derrick Henry for 27 first in the beginning after we started having trouble at the beginning of the season. And you know what happened, JT? I played him in the championship, and he stuck it up my ass in the same league. Just gave me the business with his 17 touchdowns at 400 yards. It hurt so bad, but I got 227 first out of it. Hey, this guy's got 7.5 years.
You can't win them all. Like the karma will not let you win it all.
This
can't
guy's
take everything.
I lost in 7 leagues because I played against Derrick Henry in 7 leagues, man, this year. I got all these second place.
That's brutal. I won my home league because I traded 2 seconds for him and got him.
Thanks, man. That makes me feel awesome.
I know. It's like the one time it was like the only league I had him in. I luckily didn't play him in a ton of leagues. But yeah, I feel the pain for everyone that lost to him. He did help me win my first fantasy title in my home league, my big ass home league that I've been running forever. So you're gonna love him for that. But hey, it does suck you lost. But man, getting the picks is nice.
It is pretty nice. Jalen Warren, Pittsburgh at 8-4. Pittsburgh Steelers running back at 8-4. I'm not a big Jalen Warren fan.
I took Warren there is probably another one of a little bit homer.
You had a shit draft here, JT.
I know. Look at the homer picks left and right. Homer pick for me here because honestly, at this point, I was like, all right, I already got R. Harvey, who I don't like and I didn't want. And I was like, oh, I really need to take a running back. Like, I'm like in desperation mode. I took Jalen Warren. If I had to go back, I'm probably taking Swift instead or Monty.
This is
little safer picks. Little safer picks. I feel at both those games.
You should call this team like the excuse pick. I mean, everyone these picks like, oh, I fell asleep, or my dog ate my homework, or I did this and that, or I touched the board wrong, or something. I don't like this. Now, okay, the next.
My fingers didn't work, John. I hit the wrong person. I picked the wrong guy.
It is what it is, man. You're stuck with this team now, buddy. Thank God it's just a mock. Because if I had,
I know, right? That's right.
Dalton Kincaid. I traded for Dalton Kincaid in about 9 leagues. I'm stuck with him now. I overpaid for him. I think he's still going to be a stud. This is a great pick. If I got a Dalton Kincaid at 8.5, I'd be super happy about that pick. DeAndre Swift. I am crossing my fingers that the Bears just do nothing but get defense and defense and defense and defense and defense and do not take a running back in this draft. I think if they wait long enough, they just get like a 5th or a 4th, 5th, or 6th round running back. I don't think it's going to hurt Swift too much, but I'm going to try and trade Swift somewhere towards the middle to end of this year. I think this is the end. This is the beginning of the end for DeAndre Swift, but I'm hoping for one more solid year anyway. Rico Dowdle, never been a fan of Rico Dowdle, so it is what it is. Isaiah Likely. I forgot who that guy is, that tight end guy on Twitter that he talks about tight ends. Like he was on our show before too. I don't know why I can't think of his name, but he just said a stat that the guy who runs as slow as Isaiah Likely does it's going to be a situation where he's one of 3 tight ends that's just doomed in this situation for the Giants. Everybody has Isaiah Likely's going to do this. He's going to do this.
Pull this up from Mark. He says, I like Likely. Feels like a steal at this point in the draft. Kyle Pitts, I have no idea what the hell Atlanta's doing. I don't think Atlanta knows what the hell they're doing. Use him or trade him to someone that will. I agree. Atlanta should probably move Pitts. Likely, I would
sell him right now if I had him anyway.
But I would sell him. I thought this was a terrible landing spot for him.
Yeah, it is.
I just think Theo Johnson's good. Daniel Bellinger, not a good fantasy player, but a good real life tight end.
He's gone.
Oh, Bellinger's gone?
Yeah, he's somewhere else.
Oh, that's why they signed like that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for catching me on that, John, before I spit fake news to everybody here. That's nice. Likely, if you watched Likely in college, good receiver at Coastal Carolina, but he was like a big slot. He isn't fast. We've seen him. He's got to play against zone, and he's got to find the slots, which he can do. I think he can be a decent guy. Here's how I've convinced myself, if I'm a Likely owner, how I think he can be good this year, is there is no Wan'Dale Robinson. So, okay, so they get rid of the small slot guy. Do they make Likely the big slot guy, right?
Yeah.
If he's the big slot for Rondell, then I could see him actually having a pretty good year because of that reason. If they don't go out and draft a slot receiver, because you got Neighbors out there and stuff like that playing the outside, I can see Likely being good because of that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But if they go out and get a early slot receiver in the draft, I'm going to be nervous.
Jorge just said it was Andrew Cooper. I was listening to a Fantasy and Frame show, and I think Cooper was on there with somebody else talking about Isaiah Likely before, and I think that's where I heard it at on one of the Fantasy and Frame shows. And this guy could be Kevin. Where the hell is my invite? It was on Twitter. Unblock me, and you can see your invite, buddy. So Jorge says Andrew Cooper. Like I said, I heard it on the Fantasy and Frame show. And I heard him say that Isaiah Likely is one of like 3 receivers that runs this slow, that it had this many production yards. And it's one of those situations where I know that Isaiah Likely, the spot, the offense, everything on here, I am not a fan of Likely. If I had him right now, I would sell him for everything I possibly could, anything I possibly could. So, it's
John, Mark brings up a good point. This is one of the reasons, like I said, if I'm a Likely owner and I'm trying to talk myself into like I want Likely in a startup draft or whatever, Harbaugh just took over the Giants. They went out and got him. Obviously, Harbaugh pushed for him.
Yeah.
So you got to think, and look what the Ravens did. A lot of 2 tight end sets. A lot of big slot. Maybe Mark might have just pushed me a little bit to think it likely could be better this year for the Giants. I think it could be all right. But again, I'm just, if I want that, I'm hoping they run 2 tight ends. Likely ends up playing the big slot and they don't draft a slot wide receiver. I feel a lot better fantasy if that's the case.
Do you honestly think they're just going to keep Theo Johnson or the block all the time?
No, I think Theo is going to be their number 1 tight end. That's my point. I think Theo is the tight end. I don't think that's
Isaiah Likely's not a blocking tight end.
Exactly. That's my point. That's why I don't want them to draft a slot wide receiver, because I think the only way Likely is good for fantasy is he plays the big slot. They get rid of Wan'Dale, and he plays Wan'Dale's spot as a 6'5" guy instead of a 5'8" guy.
Yeah,
that's where I think he's successful. Theo Johnson's the number 1 tight end.
I don't think Likely's that much of that good of an athlete to do that stuff. That So I just everything about this.
We'll see. Like I said, I could talk Mark saying that could talk me into Likely. I'm like, oh, I do kind of like Likely. He does have some talent, but then I also could be talking to him the other way. I'm like, dude, they take a slot wide receiver in the draft. Like Likely's never even going to be on the field.
I'm hoping we do a startup this year and keep listening to Mark, because you can take Likely where I'm not going to take him in front of me. So
it'd be John to be the one time we're not trying to steal each other's players.
All right, then we got at 8-9, we got Cam Ward, quarterback of Tennessee Titans. People are expecting him to take a big step because how he finished last year, kind of caught the offense. Is understanding the playbook, understanding how the speed. People just think these quarterbacks come out of college, they were something, and man, Cam Ward is just in a situation now where he's seeing the field. Things are developing now. And he does not, he threw a shit ton of passes at tight end, middle of the field guy. His vision is the middle of the field. I think he's going to flourish this year. And he's not a runner. You're not going to get 1 million fantasy points for him as a running quarterback.
The crazy thing is, this guy played wishbone option offense in high school, and he's not a running quarterback. What are we doing? Like, that tells you what his team was doing in high school. He played wishbone option, and he's not a running quarterback. Here's the thing. I actually like Cam Ward. I think he can be good. Right now, he is fighting the Tennessee stink.
Yeah.
That's what he's fighting. No one wants anyone on Tennessee in the last 5 years that wasn't Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what he's fine. I actually think he's a pretty good quarterback. I would take him over Fernando Mendoza this year personally, but I just think the fact that he's on Tennessee and no one knows what they're doing, and it feels like all their offense sucks. I think like that's what's killing him.
Yes.
In a startup for a guy who went 1-1 a year ago at QB, to get him a startup super flex at 8-9, and the guy that went 1-1 the year before 8-10, I think it's pretty decent. And like at least you're going to take a value. And Ward is your third QB, and I don't love Love and Murray. I actually like Ward better in the in the 8th round than I do Love and Murray in the 6th and 7th.
Import Jeremiah Love. Import one of the top like tier 2 wide receivers on this team on this to go with Wan'Dale Robinson. You know, probably knock Wan'Dale down to the number 2 receiver on this offense. Actually, get rid of Ridley and Shamir Dyke. They'll just be role players. Gunnar Helm. I really like Gunnar Helm in this offense too, so I'm happy about that. But I think the difference here, if you add a couple big parts to this offense, this is a whole different team, and Cam Ward gets to open up the offense and be a much better quarterback too. So that's just what I'm saying. But Bryce Young, not a fan. I traded him away for a first-round pick this year, which I was happy to get rid of.
He's on the Kyler Murray track. If he doesn't show up this year, there's a chance he'd be gone, and he's looking at 1-year contracts fighting against somebody else on another team.
Babies and boomers, I traded away Devontae Adams for a 111 to Chris Joel Smith. So I was super happy about getting rid of because Devontae Adams was nothing but a touchdown-dependent receiver last year. So he is like he's on the way out, as far as I'm concerned. Then
in a startup, John, right? Devontae Adams is a win now pick.
I don't think
you're waiting to fall. You're hoping he falls to you late, like in this round. I don't mind taking him like 8th, 9th, 10th round is like probably one of your last starters. If you're drafting win now, I can get behind a Devontae Adams top 10 pick.
Here's my flex wide receiver
rounds, I should say.
In a 3 wide receiver league with 12 teams, he's like a flex option, a 4th receiver on somebody's team. That's where I see him. That's the way I value him anyway. He's he's probably in the wide receiver 4 or 5-ish, probably wide receiver 4, mid wide receiver 4 thing. I am not paying anywhere near the prices that Devontae Adams is asking for. This is probably his last year. He's not going to get as many touchdowns as he did last year. And then, but just the end of the 8th round, your boy Alec Pierce. There's not a bigger Alec Pierce fan in the United States of America, Canada, and all 7 other continents in the world. You are the Alec Pierce fan, isn't it? I traded you the. Was that the trade we did?
Oh, we did it, Baby Boomers League. I'm still killing myself, even though I traded you. I traded you Trey McBride. This is 2nd year Trey McBride before the breakout.
In a full 1 point premium.
Yes, premium. Totally bad move by me because I had 3 other good tight ends. I went heavy tight end, no wideouts. So then I was like, oh my God, I have no wideouts in the draft. This is a startup draft. I ended up trading you afterwards. I ended up getting Pierce and a top of the 2nd round pick for McBride and a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
In the swap. You obviously made out like a bandit. That helped you big time. I like Alec Pierce a ton. I am still shocked he got this contract.
Dude.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Like, I always thought he was a really good wide receiver 2 or 3 on your team.
Man.
He's making top-end wide receiver 1 money, which just blows my mind, especially with Daniel Jones at quarterback instead of AR throwing to him deep. So this one has me baffled. I don't mind taking him here. High upside guy. Yards per catch are freaking phenomenal. If you're in a deep, like a league that gives you bonus points for 30, 40-yard catches and long touchdowns, Alec Pierce is a guy you want to draft early, right? He's a guy that, like, not early, but like earlier than normal because he's going to get you all those bonus points. But, man, the inconsistency is going to burn you with him. It's just you're going to have all or nothing with him. He reminds me of a poor man's Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, just you're looking 3 catches, 102 yards and 2 touchdowns, or 2 catches for 13 yards and nothing, no TDs. Like,
if I had money to bet where he would have landed, if he didn't get re-signed in Indianapolis, I didn't even have to close my eyes all the way to see a guy like that in Kansas City. He just reminds me of a Kansas City Chiefs, because they've always had the problem with this is the Chiefs have always had these MVS and these terrible, shitty receivers who do nothing but run wind sprints down the sidelines. You would have had a guy that does that, awesome, and catch the ball. Who could track the ball deep.
Oh, he's a much more talented MVS. He's an MVS type of player. I think he has a little bit more route running skills, but he also has way better hands than MVS.
Way better ball tracking, way better hands, way better knowledge of football, way better. But they had MVS on the field for like 65 to 75% of plays, just running wind sprints to distract the defense.
Yeah, and that's how Pierce was his first year and second year. I think it was his second year he led the league in yards run per route. Like, he was just running deep balls every play. He's become a better wide receiver as they've let him do more things, but still
not that.
Even as a fan, even as an Alec Pierce fan, I'm still nervous about him. Like, JT,
take us home with this 9th round here.
All right, here we go. I'm going to bring it up. Before I bring out the whole 9th round, I'm going to bring it because the question's been sitting here. 9-1, Brayshaw Tootin, running back Jacksonville. Mark jumps in and he says, like Tootin pick, not sure about this year, but long-term, he likes him. We're going to get into my pick later in the round. He says, I really like Mason Taylor, tight end for your Jets. Really good young tight end. Good pick, JT. I'll talk about him more when we get there. Tootin's a guy I'm not in love with. He's one of the guys that I keep trying to get. One of the guys in my league keeps trying to trade me. Tootin, Pitts, anyone to get Luther Burden. I'm like, nah, I don't love these guys. It seems like Tootin should have the number 1 role with Jacksonville with ETN being gone. I just don't feel like he's an all-the-time guy. He's fast. He can make big plays. He has trouble holding on the football. He's a fumbler. Always hate that. So I feel like taking a risk at 9-1 is a solid pick there. I don't love him, but at 9-1, I would take a shot with him there. Jake Ferguson, 9-2, tight end for Dallas.
Hold on one second, real fast. Yep. Chris Rodriguez coming to Jacksonville is a lot more of a problem than people think it is. Liam Cohen loves.
Here's my issue, John. Fine. I was going to keep going, but we'll talk about Jacksonville real quick. Here's my big issue with Jacksonville. I think that Rodriguez is a short down back, short yardage, first downs, touchdowns. LaQuinn Allen, my love for LaQuinn Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I think LaQuinn Allen's going to be the third down back. He's got better receiving skills than a ton of guys. He's not super fast, but you don't need a super fast guy to catch the ball in the backfield and just give you a first down. So I think LaQuinn Allen ends up being the third down back. I think Rodriguez ends up being the short down back, first downs, touchdowns. And I think Tootin ends up being kind of the in-between guy who gets some carries, short yard carries, get some third down carries. They hope he gets a bunch of big plays, hope he busts one. I just don't see him as being the all-everything guy. And that is my worry about Tootin. I really feel like Jacksonville is going to play 3 running backs a lot of the time unless someone gets hurt.
I mean, Jorge, he emphasize the word love, Rodriguez in Jacksonville. So does Liam Cohen. I mean, Liam Cohen said, listen to the things that Liam Cohen said about Chris Rodriguez before he got him in the Jacksonville. So I'll switch it over. I actually think he's better than Tootin. I mean, the different roles, but at the same time, I think Chris Rodriguez is just a more solid early down. If you're talking lightning and thunder, Chris Rodriguez is going to fill the thunder role 100%. Now, Brayshaw Tootin to fill a lightning role, that's debatable. Of course, he's going to catch some passes, but there's no doubt that Chris Rodriguez can take the early down back role and run with it for sure. Agree 100%, Jorge.
So I'll jump back in here. Good talk on the Jacksonville running backs there. Jake Ferguson, like I said, tight end Dallas 9-2. Matt Stafford 9-3. QB LA. David Montgomery just shipped off from the Lions to Houston. I've always been a Monty fan.
Yep.
One of my favorite touchdown picks every week when it comes to betting. 9-4. 9-5. Malik Willis, new Miami quarterback in the mix there. Then Terry McLaurin, 9-6 from Washington, wide receiver. Courtland Sutton, 9-7, wide receiver Denver. Kyle Monangai, only one round later than DeAndre Swift.
That's
going
crazy.
9-8. Mason Taylor, you brought it up earlier, my pick. I'm going to talk about him in just a second as I finish this round. 9-9, tight end, New York Jets. Michael Pittman, former Colt, now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Now I love him even more. He's been on both my teams. 9-10, going there. And then Tyler Algier, former Atlanta running back, now Arizona running back, at 9-11. And then Chuba Hubbard finished things off at 9-12. Carolina running back, Dowdle's gone. Jonathan Brooks coming back from the injury. We'll see what it looks like for Chuba moving forward. John, what do you think about this last round, 9th round? Give me your thoughts.
Tyler Algier is the person I'm kind of targeting here. Just there's a lot of under the radar players in this 9th round, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of, this is a Matthew Stafford. I know it's a startup, but if you're looking to win now and you had a win now team, why wouldn't you just take Matthew Stafford and just get a shit ton of points as far as that goes? David Montgomery in Houston, that's going to revitalize his career. He was behind an outstanding player, Jahmyr Gibbs, goes to Houston now, the early down guy. Bam, good. Malik Willis, that's just you might as well light that pick on fucking fire. It's garbage. Terry McLaurin, he's just a guy at this point in time. I don't think he's anything special. Courtland Sutton, another overproducer, up and down kind of guy. Monangai, man, I'm kind of afraid of Monangai because he looked good in a couple games where the Bears just had played ball control. But when they really needed him to step up in some other situations, he really didn't step up the way he wanted to. Wasn't very consistent. I love Monangai. We talked about him a lot on his rookie profile, JT. But, man, Monangai just I'm really hoping that he turns things around this year a little bit more in a positive situation, a little more consistently. Even though like I said, he had a good season. But I'm looking for more. Mason Taylor. You like Mason Taylor a little more than I do. That's okay. Not a problem. Mason Taylor is another guy. I think if he's not in the top probably 12 tight ends, I don't think he's ever going to get there.
So for me, I'll jump in real quick on Mason Taylor. I told people last year he went in the 2nd round. He was getting late 1st round buzz. I think if he would have went back to college, now I think he probably lucked out because he didn't, because LSU fell apart.
Yes.
And the quarterback play was a disaster. So I think it was a smart move that Mason Taylor came out. I thought if he went back to college and LSU had the type of year they had the year before, I thought he was tight end 1 in this year's draft. I thought he would have been a 1st round pick for sure, top 20 guy, and would have been, for fantasy purposes, a 1st round pick regardless of scoring. Now, I'm all in because he got hurt at the end of last year, missed the last couple of games. The QB play has been terrible for the Jets. He was super consistent at LSU. I mean, he was like 40 catches, 400 yards, couple TDs every year. I think he ends up being a very good pro. Outside the Jets, I think the Jets are what's killing him. So that's what I'm biting on startup drafts. If you are waiting on tight end, if you don't go tight end early, he's the guy I'm targeting. If I want a young tight end, I'm going to take him, and then I'm going to throw an old guy in there. I'll take a Kelsey a couple rounds later just to start this year. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll throw him in and be like, I'll play him this year, and like we'll see what Mason Taylor has. But I think Mason Taylor, if I'm drafting 10, John, I'll pull it back up for everybody real quick. Let me see where he went. He was tight end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Absolutely. It's anything out of the top 10 tight ends. I love Mason Taylor. I think he's a great buy in startups. You can hold him, and then I'm gonna take an old guy. I'll take Kelsey, Dalton Schultz, any of those other guys. I'll take Ertz. I'll take Goddard. You know what I'm saying? I'll take Taylor a little earlier, get him as my future, and I'll take an older guy and play him for a year or two until either Mason Taylor gets a QB in for the Jets or Mason Taylor's like, peace out. I'm going to another team that can actually give me the football.
All right. What did you say he was? Tight end, 13 you said, or 11 or 9 or something like that?
In this draft, he went tight end 13.
Okay. I'm going to do a little exercise here because we're almost done. I got it real quick. Just last year alone, okay? I'm gonna read the names of these guys that got picked last year, okay? And you tell me who would you rather have? Would you rather have Mason Taylor or Tyler Warren?
Oh, Tyler Warren.
Mason Taylor or Colson Loveland?
Oh, Loveland.
Mason Taylor or Harold Fannin?
That one's tougher. I had
no, it's not. No, it's not.
It's got to be Fannin right now. Just to be honest, I want to be truth. I had Taylor as my tight end 3, Loveland as my tight end 4, or not Loveland. Fannin is my tight end 4 last year. So I had Warren, Loveland, Taylor, Fannin. So going into last year's draft, I do think Fannin's worth more right now, pretty much across the board.
Okay. Mason Taylor or Oronde Gadsden?
I really like Oronde, and I love the Chargers. So I think that's his upside. But I do think Mason Taylor long-term might be the better player long-term.
Mason Taylor or Gunnar Helm?
Mason Taylor.
All right, I like Gunnar Helm better. But not a shit ton, but
I do like Gunnar Helm. I do think Gunnar Helm's going to be solid, especially because I think Tennessee's going to be throwing a lot short passes.
I know.
Look at Cam Ward. I really like him. I like Gunnar Helm for fantasy purposes, probably slightly better than Taylor this year. But for longevity of dynasty, I think Taylor's going to end up being a better player than Helm over his career.
Look what Cam Ward did in Miami. I mean, it was 97% of the passes through was to the tight end. I just feel like Gunnar Helm is in for like a
no Chig really pushes Helm's value way up to me. I agree with you. Okay,
so I'll give you the Mason Taylor maybe over, even though I love Elijah Arroyo, and I still think that there's a chance Elijah Arroyo at some point in time pans out. But right now, I'll probably take Mason Taylor over Arroyo. I didn't see it that way in the draft after the draft happened, but it is what it is. Terrence Ferguson is the kind of the wild card here. Terrence Ferguson or Mason Taylor for you?
I'm Taylor, then Ferguson. Ferguson was my tight end 5 last year. He was right behind Fannin.
Okay,
and then I had Arroyo at 6.
That's fair. There's a couple tight ends all sharing the load in the Rams in LA, so it's kind of.
I like Ferguson for the future. I just think you're gonna have to wait at least another year for him to really break out. They just have too many guys they're feeding in there.
Yeah. All right, so that was I just wanted to get to that quick little exercise here. I just traded for Tyler Algier for like peanuts in a handful of leagues, and I just feel like he's. I don't think they trust Trey Benson. I don't think that Connor's in for the long haul. I think that Algier may carve out a lot bigger role than people are expecting this year.
I feel like Algier is James Conner. So I think they're like, hey, if he gets hurt again or can't do it, we've got our guy. They're similar type players.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big Trey Benson fan coming out. He was my number 1 over Jonathan Brooks. I also said I really did not like that running back class at all. So I said I like Trey Benson. He was a late first, early second for me in fantasy leagues, but I also threw it out that I didn't think he would do anything until at least late year 2 or maybe year 3. So it's looking worse now. Now we're going into year 3. Now we need something. Now he has to hit. So I bringing Algier, and I think it's just backup for those two guys, but he's been way more consistent, at least when those other guys, other than Connor when he's healthy. I can see Algier still in. If you can get him cheap, like you said, there's no reason not to put him on your roster because there's a pretty good chance at some point this year he's going to end up being the number one for them.
Yeah, I think I did pretty well. Jorge, digging these glasses, John, are those clear frames? You know what? They're old people glasses. I'm old now. I had to get glasses to see the screen and look at shit, like look at fantasy football drafts on the way while I'm doing podcasts because I'm old now. So they're not a welcome addition to the John McGlynn fashion statement here, but I mean, it is what it is. That's what you do.
John, I should have my glasses on tonight. My girlfriend said something to me. She's like, "Are you okay? Your eyes?" I'm like, I've been wearing my contacts. I can't even tell you the last time I took them out. They're like foggy as can be. I'm like, I should have worn my glasses today. Because
you know what sucks is once you start wearing these reader glasses, cheaters, it's like, all right, that helped a little bit, and then you start looking at something like, shit, I can't see it without my glasses. And the more you wear them, like the more you're like, oh my God, I can't live my life without having these glasses on. Now I'm just, they're on my face more than they're not. Now I tried to fight as long as I possibly could, but they look good though. Yeah, they look. You know what? I got the fat face. I had to get the extra ones. Like, I'm like, can I have a pair of glasses? First, I had the ones that look like the little skinny ones that like kids get when they're like 2 years old, the little round ones. I'm like, man, this is my fat ass face. My head's like this wide, like a pumpkin. I'm wearing these two little raisins on there. So now I got these extra fat face glasses, so I don't get those marks on the side of my face from digging into my side of my head. But man, it's a welcome addition. It's helped a lot. It kind of got me 20 years younger on my seeing stuff around here, but. It is what it is. They're a necessity. It's like going bald a little bit wearing a hat. I'm like, all right, I got my Project 47 hat on. See
the Project 47 hat is looking fantastic over there, brother. We haven't got to do a podcast in a while, but we got to hang out a week or two ago. You came through my neck of the woods.
That's
got
right.
to hang out for a bit. The hat looks fantastic, man.
Me and you and the wives got to drink some beers and hang out for a little bit. So it was great seeing everything. And the food was good. The drinks were good. The friends were good. The whole atmosphere was awesome. So very good. All right, man. Well, that is it. Thanks for everybody first of all, JT, what else is going on?
Yeah. Tomorrow night, hit us up on Fantasy and Frames. We're going to be doing me and your boy this guy, that way. I can't figure it out on the screen. John McGlynn, we're going to be back. We're going to be talking Dynasty QBs, startup Dynasty QBs, where we're ranking these guys. We'll be talking about that tomorrow on Fantasy and Frames. Also, me and the IDP Godfather, Gary Davenport. We're going to be breaking down defensive guys on the Shoot the Gap show. So check us out on that tomorrow. And then the return of Fourth and Frames, our redraft show. Late night tomorrow night. So we got 3 shows in a row tomorrow night on Fantasy and Frames. Hook us up there. If you are a DLF member, Dynasty League Football, check me out there. Got updated rookie IDP rankings, IDP 150 rankings for Dynasty. And I just updated my top 75 Devi leagues for all those people that are crazy and watch college or in Devi stuff. Got those up as well. And I've written, I can't even tell you how many articles lately on the draft. So all kinds of draft articles. Jordan Tyson, Aaron Anderson just put out a first round mock draft, all kinds of stuff. So check all that out on all those places. And John, I'm pumped. We get to talk again tomorrow.
I know. It's I get 7-12 or 6-12s in a row, man. I finally get off. I get to go get up at 4:45, get home at 8:15, and come home, drink some beers, and watch a show. So, Jorge, where can you get a show? Where can you get one of these fantastic?
Jorge, I'll hook you up. I'll get a hat sent out to you, brother.
Come down to the center of like Urbana, Illinois, in the middle of nowhere, and find JT Brew, the Project 47 Smokehouse, and you get a free one. Okay, otherwise JT will send you one in the mail.
Mark says JT needs to update his alarm clock. Oh, dude, you don't even know, brother. It's been brutal lately. I'm either up late, up early. I tell you what, I get on some of these draft boards and I'm like, I'm like 7 picks away. I don't have to worry about it. 4 a.m. hits. I go to sleep at 3:30. Everyone makes a pick, and then I get up at like 11, and I'm like, I got autoed. I'm like, what's going on? So, it's so bad. So anybody out there who has mock drafts, set it up where you can actually do an auto draft one. Fantrax. I know people don't always love it, But the best thing about their drafts is you can auto draft for a pick. You can make 1 pick, 2 pick auto drafts. The problem I have is sleeper. I don't usually do it because if I hit auto draft, next thing I know, I'm 3 picks deep. And I was like, I didn't mean to auto draft 3 picks. I didn't mean to do that if I didn't check it and turn it off in time. But Mark is right. I got to get my stuff together.
It is what it is. We can do it. You'll figure it out. Jorge says, text him at 4:45 in the morning. Well, that's about the time when me and JT go to bed after my midnight.
That's why I always know me and Jorge are on the same schedule, but opposite schedules. He'll send something out, and I'll text something back, and he answers me, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you're. He's like, I'm up going to work, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to go to bed. So it happens. It happens sometimes.
All right,
John.
Well, I am John McGlynn. You can
I feel like it was a great return, brother.
It was a great return.
It's been forever. We've been meaning to get on a show, but it's just been nuts. We got more content coming for you here at Dynasty Evaluation, right?
It has been nuts. That's all right. Thanks for coming back, JT. These shows, I mean, who would have thought it would have been? We were talking about a half hour, 45-minute show. It never works out that way when you got 2 fat mouth guys like us just yapping the whole time. So doing exercises and shit like that together. So, I don't know. Jorge, you guys are great. You're great, Jorge. Thanks for tuning in, man. But Dynasty Evaluation YouTube channel. You can find out. We'll do a lot of my shit's impromptu, man. Sometimes I'll just call JT and say, "Hey, what are you doing in the next 45 minutes?"
That's why you have to hit the like, subscribe, so you know when the show's coming on. We're not the best about pre-promoting shows.
Not.
Let's just say that. Sometimes John's like, "It's 10 a.m. I actually woke up," and he's like, "You want to do a show today?" And I'm like, "Sure." When? He's like, 30 minutes. I'm like, "Let's go." This is how it happens sometimes. Or tonight. I'm like, hey, I'm at a track meet. He's like, I'm going to get home from work. You want to do a show? I'm like, yeah, let's break down that mock draft that we did. I'm like, sure, let's do it. So, hey, thanks for everybody. A lot of people tuning in tonight. Great to have people back. Thanks to everybody in the comments. Great comments tonight. Damn, John, I had a freaking good time tonight, dude.
I had a real good time tonight, JT. Thanks for coming back. Subscribe, make some comments on the YouTube, the Dynasty Evaluation YouTube channel. I really appreciate you guys coming on there. Spread the word, spread the love. But we are back, man. I work, life, family, some emergencies got in the way. That's just the way life works sometimes. I'm not going to start doing stuff in the middle of the season like I did last year. I just enjoyed football last year, kind of rejuvenated. It was kind of hard getting back in when you take some time off, JT. But I mean, jumping back in here, I feel like I learned how to swim again or riding a bike again. You don't forget, man. And working with you, and, it makes everything so much easier. So, thank you very much. I will see you guys later. End of stream. I don't know when the next show is. We'll tell you a half hour before it comes on. We'll figure it out. Okay. All right. See you guys later. Thanks for joining us today.
Peace.